Dunearn House is a 99-year leasehold project launching soon in Bukit Timah. And a lot of people are wondering if 3,000 PSF is worth the price in this area. Because if the price gets too close to the older freehold projects, buyers may start thinking, why not consider buying the other freehold projects in this area instead? That's why the pricing gap between the surrounding condos is very important. In this video, I'm going to walk you through everything, what Dunearn House is, the risks, the strengths, and the price range where I think this would become a confident buy, versus where I would start to be cautious. So what actually tells you whether this is a risk or an opportunity is the quantum, the unit you choose, and whether your future buyer will still see value in it one day. If you think this is helpful to you, you can subscribe to my channel or reach out and WhatsApp me. So let's start with the basic, because before we talk about whether the price makes sense, I'll do a quick sharing of what and where Dunearn House is. Dunearn House is a joint venture between Fraser, CSC Land and Suzuki House. It has 2 blocks of 19-storey and 3 blocks of 10-storey residential, a total of 380 units. It is a 99-year leasehold and will TOP in 2030. The estimate launch date and the preview will be in July. So in this area, most people buy into this Bukit Timah is mainly for the schools. They have not confirmed whether Methodist Girls' School is within 1 km radius, but according to the image on one map, those that are within the red is within the 1 km zoning, and those that are blue are within the 1 to 2 km zoning. So from here, I think there will be quite a high chance that this is within the 1 km zoning. For Dunearn House, it is in District 11, walking distance to 6th Avenue MRT on the downtown line, which directly connects you to many stations like the Circle Line, Thomson East Coast Line, North-South Line, and even the East-West Line. In the future, there is also the Bukit Timah Turf City transformation, which will bring about 15 to 20,000 new homes being built here. And there will also be a new MRT station coming up called Turf City that is expected to be completed in 2032, and that can also bring you to other stations like Ang Mo Kio and Hougang for more convenience. So I would say the connectivity here is pretty good. Based on the land bid, Dunearn House could start from 2,950 PSF at a 15% profit margin. At 20%, that brings it to 3,100 PSF, and 25% profit margin, you're looking at 3,200 PSF. So the question is, which point would I consider it as a risky entry for buyers in the market? And to answer that, we cannot just look at a project in isolation. We need to see who the competitors are in the market. So in my analysis, I will want to consider what are the surrounding resale condos transacting at and how they have performed. Because Dunearn House is a 99-year leasehold project and is surrounded mainly by freehold condos, as you can see on the map. One interesting note is that we have 4th Avenue Residence. This is a 99-year condo and it recently TOP in 2023. But out of the 37 transactions, there are already 9 unprofitable transactions in the project, which is about 25% of the owners making a loss here. So what is the reason behind this? On a closer look at the unit mix itself, 4th Avenue Residences is mainly made of investor units here, which is the 1 bidder and 2 bidder. That itself is about 67% of the profile of the units. So it's quite clear that this is not a very strong uptake. Buyers in this area are mainly looking for larger units for their own stay or coming from a larger landed or older private property, and they want to right size in this area. Because if you look at the 3 bidders and 4 bidders, they have profited quite a bit. They have made about 300,000 to 400,000 in profit. Because of this is why I think Dunearn House does not have any 1 bidder for sale in their unit mix, knowing that most of the profile of people here are mainly families or long-term investors. In fact, 54% of them are catered for the 3 bidders and 4 bidders in the market. We will use the 3 bidders here as a comparison since it is a more popular unit type for families here. After all, when families upgrade from the HDB, they have 3 rooms, so naturally they will want to have that same size or bigger. So let's compare using the 3 plus study 947 square feet of Dunearn House. It comes with a WC, proper storeroom and a study. This could launch with a range from 2.8 to 3 million. Comparing it with the layout at 4th Avenue Residences, the 947 square feet has no WC, no storeroom, and has quite a big balcony. Also, they do have the AC latch, which is eating up into your usable space. So in this case, the layout of Dunearn House makes more sense for a livable family home. If they are both the same quantum range, for 9 years younger at TOP, then Dunearn House would make more sense. We can also compare the 3-bedroom plus study for 4th Avenue residences. They do have an AC ledge of 5 square meters and no home shelter. On paper, it is 1,109 square feet, but the actual livable space is 1,055 square feet. Furthermore, if you notice, there are also 2 balconies, one in the master room and one in the living room. So this floor space, even though it's big, it does seem quite inefficient. Let's then compare the 99-year Dunearn House to the freehold condos surrounding here. We have Casadega, Nexus, the Tesserina, Floridan, and Maplewoods. Based on the URA transactions, these are already the transacted price range for the 3 bidders for the past 6 months. Now, all these are freehold projects and their 3 bidders are transacting from 2.88 million onwards. The leasehold discount has to stay wide enough to make your choice worthwhile. That's why your entry price matters here. If Dunearn House is priced at 2,950 PSF to 3,000 PSF, the quantum range is still competitive because it's still below the 3 million quantum. You are coming in below or at the lower end of what the freehold options in the area are asking. But once the price starts pushing up closer towards 3,200 PSF, the gap then closes. And when the gap closes too fast, buyers will start asking, hey, why not consider the freehold projects instead? So would I buy? Around 2,950 to 3,000 PSF, the value would still be a fair value. The quantum stays competitive because the leasehold discount relative to the freehold alternative is wide enough to make sense, and then you can still stay in this Bukit Timah area. Around 3,100 PSF, I would remain cautious. It can only work if you are buying the right unit, the right stack, and the facing, and those that will not be compromised by the future roadworks or future development that will be building as well. If it is above 3,100 PSF, I think then there will be better alternatives out there to consider instead. At this point, the gap has closed enough that your future buyer will ask the questions you will also be asking right now, which is what other options can they consider? Because when the Bukit Timah transformation is completed, and many other projects also TOP at the same time, these will then add new supply into this area. It will be hard to justify for the weaker units and your exit risk is higher at this level. Feel free to reach out to me and I'll share with you a list of which freehold projects to consider instead. For the risk of Dunearn House, this is a leasehold project surrounded by freehold options. So buyers who are looking into Bukit Timah will have a lot of choice and they may have a preference to go for the freehold projects instead, especially if they were to see that the price gap is not too wide between a freehold and a leasehold. Number 2 is that there will also be future upcoming supply in this area where there will be a lot more homes being built in Turf City. And then it will have more modern and more newer projects for buyers to choose from. And for buyers looking for a quick flip, like 4 years in this area, you may need to hold on longer because the Bukit Timah transformation will still take a while to complete. It is more of a medium to long-term investment. For the strengths of Dunearn House, I would say that there is first mover advantage here. Because for Dunearn House, this land bid is cheaper in comparison with the upcoming plot, which is 215 PSF more. That is a 15% higher. It is going to be a mixed, which is a residential and commercial at the first story. So it has amenities like supermarket and childcare options, which definitely will result in a higher land price. So there are good considerations also for future resale buyers like the school, the Bukit Timah identity, that's greenery, upcoming transformation, and the future MRT. The unit mix is also good for Dunearn House as it caters strongly to a family profile, so it gives more options to future resale buyers. And the layout is also efficient without the AC ledge and wasted floor space like the older developments because this is harmonized. Every buyer's entry point, budget, and objective is different. And the difference between the right unit and the wrong one is at the quantum that you choose. Because now not many buyers are looking at the PSF, they are focused on what is the affordability for them. If you have found this useful, subscribe and drop me a text. I'll see you in my next upcoming video. Bye!